just around. Nothing's gonna ever keep you down. There's no easy way out. There's no shortcut home. I'm gonna stake my claim. I'll fight you, survive. Much like Popeye's Chicken, Karate Master 2 is fucking awesome. It's like an 80s or 90s fighting movie in a can. It is so badass. It's like a mixture of a fighting game from the 90s and an RPG, but really it's not those. If I were to make a genre for this game, it would be a simulation of what it's like to be an up-and-coming fighter. In the game, you're this karate fighter, and you're trying to become the greatest fighter in your city. The first thing you do is you enter some amateur tournaments, and with these tournaments you don't make money for them, you actually have to pay an entrance fee, and obviously you need money for that. So to make some money in the beginning, you have to work at the docks driving a forklift. Once you actually win a few tournaments, you start entering tournaments where you actually get paid money. Like you become an actual professional fighter. Outside of entering various tournaments, you also go to various fighting schools in the city and beat up either their best student or their teachers. Now, while it is Karate Master 2, there are other disciplines involved, like there's kickboxing, boxing, Muay Thai. There's not really much grappling though, it's basically karate point fighting, and if you're not familiar with the genre, basically the concept of karate point fighting is you're supposed to be able to knock out or kill your opponent with one blow. So if you score one strong attack, you get a point for that. If you start grappling or if you go to the ground, they stand you right back up. It's a concept of fighting, but of course it's not a reality like 99% of the time. If you've seen any professional fights, mixed martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, whatever, very rarely will someone just get knocked out a few seconds after the fight starts from one blow. Most of the time you have to throw a few punches, get your opponent loosened up, hurt him a little bit, and then you can score the final blow. But the blow that actually finishes your opponent is very rarely the first thing you actually throw in a professional fight. Maybe like in a street fight against someone who doesn't know what they're doing. You'll see this concept of traditional karate point fighting used in fights with some of the best traditional karate practitioners in the world today. I'm talking about like Leona Machida, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and even Anthony Pettis. Watch some of their fights if you're interested in how karate can actually be used practically in an actual fight and not like in a choreographed movie. It's pretty fascinating. In between fights, you train to raise your attributes. This is done through various mini games, much like the forklift simulation in the beginning. Outside of raising your attributes in between fights, you can also learn new moves to use in fighting. And of course, some of these moves are going to be pretty useful, while others not so much, and you'll never really use them. And there's actually a ton of different mini games like this. Some of them are pretty annoying because it's button mashing, and those are just stupid, but some of them are pressing a button at the right time, and those can be pretty fun and challenging. Now, outside of simulating all these aspects of what it's like to be an up-and-coming fighter, the meat and potatoes of Karate Master 2 is the combat, and it is so awesome. It's so satisfying to punch and kick and just beat up the enemies. Sometimes when you land a kick flush on your opponent's head or you punch them right in the face, it feels like you're hitting them with a bat. I mean, you do real damage. The game is always back and forth. Even when you max out all your stats, there's still a good chance some guy can come out of nowhere and just completely obliterate you in a fight. There are a lot of injuries in this game. A lot of times you'll be competing in a tournament, you'll be going through the ranks, just kicking everyone's ass. You start your next fight, and the guy punches you really hard or kicks you really hard, and he literally like breaks a bone in your body, and you see an x-ray of this happening, and then you have to go to the hospital for a little while. I just love how brutal and powerful the combat in this game is. It's really satisfying to fight, and that's the best compliment you can give a fighting game, that it's really satisfying and fun to compete in the actual fighting. This game is awesome. It's a great throwback to 16-bit fighting games from the 90s, and also this game is just a fantastic homage to late 70s, 80s, and 90s fighting movies. Movies like Rocky, The Karate Kid, and of course the absolutely fantastic Bloodsport, the movie that really inspired me to get into mixed martial arts. I feel like I'm maybe a little too old for video games, but I'm too young for full contact. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, my Shidoshi.
Hey, how's it?